This is Matt with Mel Express Radio. I have with me Opus of Dead by Wednesday and the David Ellefson Band. How you doing today, man?
How you doing, bro? You got me and Dave Sharpe from Dead by Wednesday together.
All right, Dave Sharpe from Dead by Wednesday as well joining us.
2 for 1.
Good stuff. First question I have for you. You just returned from out west from playing drums with David Ellefson's band. How'd those shows go for you?
It was a very surreal experience because no one is playing right now, and both of us haven't played a show since my birthday bash last January. So it was nerve-wracking. It was nerve-wracking, but also very fun. And once we started, it was like the old expression, riding a bike. We just kicked right back in. Just like here we are, we're playing a show again, and it was fine after like the first half of the first song. But it was definitely weird experience because of the whole COVID thing, like lurking around every corner. But at the same time, we feel good about it. It was all done safely, and we came back, we got tested, and it seems like the new way now. It's like, I got to go, everyone else is working, so I got to work too. So we go out and we come back, we test for our families and for work, and then, and hopefully everything's okay. But at some point, you got to live. So it's kind of like we're just trying to do what we do, and that's what we do. So each show was on an outdoor stage, so there's more than enough open air space to socially distance. Crowds were good. People weren't compromising personal space at all. But that said, we were able to interact with the fans, talk with people, have fun. So it definitely had a different feel to it, but overall, great to perform, see people get back into music and socially interact, albeit in a safe manner.
Now, the way that you guys handle playing the show, would you see this being able to work out with the pandemic going on if things stay as is, or would you see it not being able to work out if things get worse again?
We don't know. I mean, no one knows. That's part of the problem here is the mystery behind all this stuff. Like, what bothers me is that, I don't downplay it whatsoever. I have a family member who's has basically no immune system, and I know a lot of friends that are out there that are also working who have gotten it. Some did well, some did not. So I'm not saying that it doesn't happen, but my problem lies when you could go to a haunted attraction with 3,000 people, and yes, they have masks on, but some of it is inside, some of it's outside. And when you're in line, everyone is up your butt. They're not social distancing. And you can do that, or you can go to a rally, a political rally, most of the people without masks on. You can go to a protest. You could go to church. You could go to Walmart. You could go to restaurants, take off your mask, and eat. But yet, I can't throw a show at a 1,000-capacity venue with 100 people and say, okay, fever check at the door. You wear masks. If you don't like it, you don't come. And if it's about alcohol because people get sloppy, then we do old school all ages shows like we used to do with no alcohol. And if people really want live music like they say they do, then they'll come regardless of the alcohol or drink before they come. We can even split up shows, one at 6, one at 10, so it separates the amount of people. You could do limited amount of seats. They pay more money to get in and instead of less, so it kind of compensates for the lack of people for the venue. I mean, there's so many options, but yet entertainment, music, and arts cannot function properly or work, but everyone else can do it. And it's confusing to me because, I just went to the aquarium with my son, and they did a temperature check right when I walked in. They had a machine similar to the airport, where they don't have to even touch you. You just walk in and they automatically know whether you have a temperature or not. Why can't they do that at big venues? Why can't they have that and then sign a waiver saying I enter at my own risk? If I get sick, it's not a liability to the owner or the promoter or the club or whatever. It's on me. I mean, there's so many different ways of doing it, but yet, the first thing that gets cut from school systems when you get budget cuts are art and music. So, and it silences anyone that promotes free thinking or creativity or have open minds, like some of the artists that are very influential out there. I just feel like it's something more to it that's happening that we don't understand, and it has to do with maybe people are right, maybe they are right, maybe they want to require people to go to concerts. You have to have a vaccination or something, which is really whack and against the personal, for me, what I want to do with myself. That shouldn't be someone else's choice. So I don't know, man. I don't know what's going on, but all I know is that we need to work. And if it's a risk getting up every day. You can fall and slide on ice and hit your head. You can get in a car accident. I mean, yes, it is serious. Yes, it's real. I'm not downplaying it. But at this point, it's time to do what we do. You work your whole life. You have a passion. I started when I was 13 years old, never stopped. I worked my ass off to get to this point in my career. And it was supposed to be the biggest year of both me and Dave's life, actually. We were supposed to go to Japan. With Ellefson, we were supposed to do Europe. We were supposed to do all of U.S. With DBW again. And it's just so many different things got canceled. And now, everything's so uncertain. So whether or not, I have no idea. I can't answer the question that you asked me about 10 minutes ago after me blabbing. I have no idea whether it's going to be better or worse. All I know is that things are going to change forever. And we have to learn how to adapt and overcome and prevail.
And I know that Dead by Wednesday is on David Ellefson's own record label. How did the relationship start with you and David Ellefson, and how did it evolve to you playing in his band?
Dave came in once Dave joined Dead by Wednesday. He was looking for a guitar player for some area shows around New England, and of course I'm going to take care of my own before anyone else. And Dave just clicked and fit right in, and he knows all the stuff, and it was just a perfect match. So we've been in this together, making sacrifices from the beginning. Now we're even risking our lives for him because we're out here doing this in the middle of a pandemic. But it's worked every minute, and nothing is easy, and everything has to be. You have to work for everything that you do. So again, taking a risk, and which we did from the beginning with this project, because we were taking risks before the pandemic even hit, like going out, not knowing if we were going to be asked to do more, but going out on our own dime to prove to him that we wanted to play, going to Florida on our own, and just learning everything and showing up and just not asking for anything, just being like, listen, you need a backup band for your solo thing. Here we are. We learned everything. We're pro. Here we go, and we prove ourselves. So all that stuff's a risk. But anyway. How it started is pretty simple. It's actually started. You've been with me since the Gargantuan Soul days. It actually started back then. It was when we were looking for a manager in the '90s. During a period when David was out of Megadeth, he was doing a management company, and he still is, but he's not doing it as much. It's sort of morphed more into the label, but. He was doing some managerial stuff, and we had talks about managing Gargantuan Soul, my old band. But we decided to go with the tour manager from Rage Against the Machine instead, mainly because of the style of music that we played was more suitable for what Rage was all about, and which ended up being good for us, obviously. But, it was, he's more of a metal guy, and although I'm a huge metalhead, that's what I grew up on, that's what I learned to play drums to when I first started, and now full circle, doing it again with more than one project, which is metal. It really evolved from that. So basically, we had long talks about possibly managing Gargantuan Soul. It did not happen, but we were staying in contact. We were friends. Then years later, I heard that he was starting a label, and so I contacted him. I'm like, hey man, well actually before that, he started doing these Bass Story shows, which was just him and a computer playing. That's basically how his solo band started, playing just to tracks and talking on the mic, and then jamming with some people in the area that he's going to every night after he was done with that, kind of like a seminar type of thing, like a master class. And it evolved, so I invited him. He said, hey man, if you want to book some stuff for me in your area, I'll come out and we can talk more and stuff. So I booked a Connecticut show for him. He came. It was an awesome show. I opened up acoustic when I was doing some acoustic stuff. We became, we already had a little bit of a relationship buddies then. We jammed together at the end of that show, which was a private show at the Angry Cheer Hair Salon in Connecticut, which was actually really cool. And our relationship grew from there. Then I heard he had started a label, and that's when I hit him up, and I was like, listen, you know, I have a band that I do called Dead by Wednesday, and we're looking to release an album. It's a very unique album. It was the guest vocalist album that we put together, which was basically like a heavy metal version of a mixtape, which basically, if you know what a mixtape is, hip-hop artists, DJs, they make beats, and then they have different rappers that rap over every single different beat, but it's like a compilation. So we did a metal version of that when we lost our singer, Joe, and we had a whole album written. We wrote and recorded all the material as Dead by Wednesday, but we had no singer, so we decided to get these different vocalists that we worked with and that we're friends with that were already established, like Brian Fair, John Arch, all these guys that basically I was friends with throughout the years of the business. And we put out this guest vocalist album, and we pitched it to Ellefson, and he said, listen, I don't really handle any of this stuff. You got to hit up my A&R guy, Tom Hazar, and I didn't know who Tom was at the time. And so I hit him up, and he goes, well, you know, NAMM is coming up. Are you going to be there? And I wasn't going to go, but for the first time, I decided to take a chance, and I flew to California and went to NAMM, and I met up with David and Tom, and basically David did his own thing, but Tom kept inviting me to different things while I was there, so I kind of was like, I was by his side the whole weekend, kind of just like being that guy, nagging him, like the Lars Ulrich, just like talking his ear off constantly, and trying to convince him to sign the band, and at one point, he just basically you know, stopped talking about it, and he said, call me on when you get home from NAMM, and we'll discuss it, you know, more then. So basically, he's like, shut up, kid, in a way. And I was like, okay, so we just hung out for the rest of the weekend, had fun, whatever. I came back, I called him, no response, no comments on the album, nothing. It was like crickets. So I just gave up, and I was like, okay, well, I guess apparently they don't want to sign the band. Whatever, I'll just move forward and try to find something else. So I was talking to a few different people, and I had, you know, everyone was even looking at it, even Metal Blade at the time. Basically, a lot of people didn't understand the concept or how to market it because it was so unique with all these different vocalists. But Tom understood. But the thing was, he wasn't answering or replying, and he's a very busy guy. So now I understand because I work with him now. But back then, I gave up and I put a post out and saying, well, you know, apparently, you know, I guess we're not going to go with these guys. If anyone's interested in hearing UTW and wants to sign the band, you know, please hit me up. And it was a public post. And I got some comments underneath it, and Tom immediately hit me up and was like, dude, what the hell are you doing? I thought we were putting this out. And I started in an inbox, and I started laughing, and I'm like, dude, I didn't hear from you in like weeks since NAMM. I figured he said whatever and didn't even care. And then he's like, give me a second. So he didn't even listen to it yet at that point, which is funny, because now I know how he works. So he stopped right there and then, he popped it on. Within 5 minutes, he called me, and he's like, dude, this is fucking awesome! And he was on the Brian Fair track, Live Again. And he basically was like, this is awesome. He starts naming off the tracks, and he starts, you know, telling me, who's this guy in this song? And he starts, like, asking me all these different questions until he actually stumbled upon The Surgeon, which is the only acoustic track on that album. And it features Rob Roy, who was our lead singer for 4 years. And he's like, who's that guy? Because he really liked his voice, and I told him, I said, well, it's a possibility of a new singer, and he goes, that's really good, definitely go with that guy. So on Tom's referral, we went with Rob. Unfortunately, you know, life happens, and then this pandemic, and he had to move forward and make a living because, you know, everyone's freaking broke and can't do what we do, which is also subbing ourselves to like a national band as well as other stuff that we all do. Because, you know, the days of playing in one band, like, you know, like Led Zeppelin, Black Sabbath, whatever, you're not going to do, that's not happening. You got to hustle and you got to play all this different stuff to make a living, like we're doing right now, you know, playing between Dead by Wednesday and Ellefson, and I also do Earth, you know, the Sabbath Tribute, and Dave does some other stuff too. So that's how the relationship started, and then it just grew from there. So at that point, you know, Tom's like, you know, we put the album out, we built a relationship, and then they wanted to kind of build that base story show, that seminar style show, into more of a live thing. So they started doing shows, and at that point, that's when I talk about going out on a limb. They had some stuff booked in Florida. Dave and I took Dave Sharpe here, the one that's here, took it upon ourselves to basically fly out to Florida and say, listen, you need a band to play with you for this stuff, not just the computer. We're going to come out on our dime. We're going to learn some stuff. We're going to show up prepared. We're going to show you what we got. We did that. That went well. That led to, hey, man, why don't you book some stuff around your area, Connecticut, Mass, blah, blah. I'll come out. We'll play, just like we did in Florida. We'll do that, plus we'll do more. And that happened. And that kind of just kept building, making our foundation and our roots stronger and our trust level stronger with him and vibing with him. And it just sort of built from there. And so then we just did a plethora of stuff, a bunch of different tours. Now that's been 3 years now or something, Dave? Something like that. It's about 3 years of playing on and off with him. He has basically 2 bands. He has the U.S. touring band that acts as Ellefson. We're actually considered Ellefson Sleeping Giants, per se, because we wrote one of the songs on the first album, Sleeping Giants, that he did, called Vultures. And we're actually on the new album, too, the No Cover album, the cover album that we're promoting on this run. We did a version of Crocus's Eat the Rich with Tom and David, me and Sharpe. And we actually shot a video for that recently in Texas when we were on our last run. So we're still about, and then they have another band that acts as the European Ellefson band with 2 Italian guys out in Europe. So basically, it's easier for them to tour without having to, bring gear and travel and all that stuff. I mean, we'd love to do more stuff than this, but I mean, beggars can't be choosers, and we're humble and happy to be where we're at. And then obviously, if they're not available in Europe, one of us gets called, or we're not available here in the U.S., one of them gets called. But the problem is now there's a ban on travel, so no one could go anywhere at this point anyway. So basically, we're the guys, and we get called when we're needed, and we're happy to be that because we still have Dead by Wednesday, and that's really our baby and our main focus. But at the same time, this kind of is a bigger look, and it actually helps pay the bills. In all honesty.
I know Dead by Wednesday just recently released the single and video for SOS. Does this give fans an idea of where the band will be going with their next album?
Yeah, definitely. I think I've been a fan of the band for the last decade, so I think it's a little bit bringing it back to some of the roots. The last album had a little bit more maybe commercial, heavy metal sound on it. The song is a little more of a throwback to kind of be more experimental. We decided to mix in some of the Spanish lyrics and vocals on it. Being that our new singer, Steve, is 100% Puerto Rican, thought that added a nice touch, especially with the times, being to showcase that, people can work as a team and with diversity. We're not divisive like the rest of the country, but we wanted to point out that we can send a message through our music, and hopefully that helps people kind of ride out these troubling times. Hopefully 2021 brings about a clear picture for our country, and we're not so divided. But I think being a model of working together as a team, different age groups, different nationalities, we can all come together as one and make a statement that not only through the music, but through the lyrics itself. So we believe that the lyric video that we did and the music can bring forth a little aggression. Everyone's a little pissed off this year. 2020's been just an oddball year for everybody. So, letting a little aggression out through the music and not, against each other, and then sending a message that we can all kind of relate to, kind of just wraps it all into one. So that's kind of the direction that we're going in. That's not to say we're not going to get on a little bit of the more commercial side, but we're definitely going to delve into some of the heavier shit too. But expect definitely every song to be very unique, diverse going forward, but still having that Dead by Wednesday sound.
Now, since forming in 2006, Opus, it's yourself and the bassist Mike are the only 2 surviving members since the band formed. What has really just been the key to keeping Dead by Wednesday going and pushing through?
It's funny that the rhythm section is the original rhythm section, because the rhythm section of any band, no matter who they are, is the foundation of the band. It's the glue that holds the band together. And I'm lucky enough to have someone like Mike stick by me and the band for so long. I think it's just basically understanding each other and knowing what to do, what not to do, and just we're adults. We know that this is a business as well as fun, and it's music. So part of it is knowing when to leave each other alone, too, to be honest with you. I know it sounds funny, but when you live together in a van for weeks on end, you come home, you know that there's a brothership there, but you don't have to like basically call someone up and be like, hey, how you doing every single day, So it's a balance. It's a very, very serious balance of brotherhood and just basically knowing boundaries and business. And that's kind of like what we're lucky enough to be able to go through together. And luckily, we found guys, like, I've been through so many different people, but I look at Dave as the same as me. Like, age frame, when he started, why he started, never stopping, always being, like, there's guys that join bands that'll tell you everything you want to hear, that have delusions of grandeur, and that just kind of like get in and think they're going to be famous overnight, and they're not willing to put the long haul and the work in. I always say this: you either have a fire burning or you don't, and it's either inside you or it's not. And basically, the guys that I have now, they've been doing it like me for their own bands for just as long, and they understand how it works. They understand the business. They understand that it's not a quick, get rich thing overnight type of thing. And that sometimes it's not even really about money. I mean, like, dude, DBW is basically, I don't want to say lose money on it, but we basically break even on the project. It's not even like, it's more of a project of passion, like, for love. And that's why we do other things. I mean, eventually, maybe, and hopefully, we have made profit in the past from tours, believe it or not. But because we do it smart, we go in a minivan, we don't take a tour bus. We bring minimal gear. We don't bring a lot of people. We do all of our own roadie and teching. We sell tons of merch. We do things properly and run things properly so we don't lose our shirts. But at the same time, we're realists here, and we understand how this business is now. It's changed a lot since even the 90s, never mind before that. So, the guys that I have now, they basically, I feel like, are the same character as I am, but in a different body. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I need, because, like, it's always like someone who's just like, oh, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, and then they just lose steam, and that's it, because it's a hard fucking business, and it's not something to take lightly. You have to really, really work your ass off and understand that's what it takes, and make sacrifices, and be broke sometimes, and be away from your family sometimes, and it's not easy.
That's about all the questions I got for you guys. Thank you so much for your time, and I know you guys are out on the road right now. I hope all stay safe for you guys. You guys have a fun, safe experience out there while you're still continuing to do what you love, and best wishes for a safe return.
I appreciate that. So if you want to check out some of our stuff, basically just go to all the social media is Dead by Wednesday. So Twitter, Dead by Wednesday, Instagram, Dead by Wednesday, Facebook, Dead by Wednesday, Bandcamp. We have all the merch and even music up on there under Dead by Wednesday. The only thing that's not Dead by Wednesday is the YouTube page, which is youtube.com/DBWTV, all one word, DBW short for Dead by Wednesday, TV, and the new video's up on there, SOS. Check it out. And that's pretty much it. We got new music coming in the new year, bunch of stuff coming up.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much. And again, safe travels up there. Stay safe, stay healthy, and stay metal.
Thanks, brother.